Hello, I'm Joanna.
And I'm Sophie.
And we're girls who talk about God. Today's topic is peer pressure. Have you ever been faced with a situation where you have to think about whether or not you're going to give in to peer pressure? Yeah, I reckon. Actually, in the Bible, even though it doesn't specifically talk about peer pressure, we can still get the gist of what God's intentions are and what God thinks about peer pressure. So basically, when we don't put God as number one, we are giving into idolatry, which is when we're worshipping or putting other gods, which can be like, doesn't have to be like a different god, but it can be
other people.
Yeah, other people. It can be like a game, or it can be I don't know, something that you love more than God. It is idolatry. So when we're considering people and when we're getting peer pressured and we're giving into that, we are actually giving them more authority than what you should be giving God. So when we do commit idolatry, so not adultery but idolatry, we are actually breaking one of the 10 commandments, and that is in fact a sin. So giving into peer pressure is actually a sin.
Psalm 19 verse 13 and 14 says, "Moreover, keep your servant from willful sins. Do not let them rule over me. Then I will be innocent and cleansed from blatant rebellion. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable to you, Lord, my rock and my redeemer."
Yeah, so that's a good verse talking about where our intentions and who we should be serving. So we shouldn't be endeavouring to get the favour of other people, but we should be trying to get favour from God by serving Him. So when we do in fact give into peer pressure, we might receive some fulfillment or some happiness for a small amount of time, but that actually does wear off because it's temporary. So we can hear about that in a verse in 2 Peter.
2 Peter 2 verse 19 says, "They promise them freedom, but they themselves are slaves of corruption, since people are enslaved to whatever defeats them." So at the time when you give into peer pressure, it may feel good and may be fulfilling, but it is only temporary and it leaves a longer lasting negative impact. 2 Timothy 2:22 says, "Flee from youthful passions and pursue righteousness, faith, love and peace, along with those who call on the Lord from a pure heart."
So we should be trying to have a pure heart, and by doing that we can help ourselves from not giving into peer pressure.
Yeah, and fleeing those desires. So peer pressure is a very big thing at school, especially kind of relating back to our fitting in video where we want to please everyone, and by doing that we do things that aren't acceptable to God. So for example, like, and everyone's like saying that do it, like everyone's saying it, so then you think, okay, it must be right if everyone agrees with it, but it isn't necessarily right just because everyone else is doing it.
So yeah, sometimes people could be trying to peer pressure you into doing things like gossiping about someone behind their back, or
cheating on a test,
or saying some nasty things about other people, or hurting someone physically or emotionally, or those sorts of things. Sometimes in our lives we think, okay, maybe I'll just do all my bad things now, do all the naughty things now, and then when I grow up I will try and be good. I'll be good and I'll follow God. But whereas we can actually do all of those things now when we're young, and in fact it's better to do that than to think, because right here, right now is where it is, because we don't know and we're not guaranteed our future, which is what we were talking about in our previous video. We're not guaranteed our future, so we should be thinking about the here and now. So a verse in 1 Timothy talks about that exactly.
1 Timothy 4 verse 12 says, "No one should despise your youth. Instead, you should be an example to the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, in purity."
So that's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah. We should be leading the example, even though we're young and everyone looks down on us. Yeah, we should be fighting.
Yeah, and we shouldn't be waiting or holding off until, like, maybe I'll hold off until I get like a leadership position at school, or I hold off until I become, I don't know, more of an influential position.
Yeah.
You can still do it now, and you still have that credibility to do that. You have that position and that authority because you are a follower of God, and so
Yeah.
like if God wills you to do that, then you should be able to do that no matter how hard it is, because He will equip you with what you need. So our challenge for you this week
is every morning we want you to let God be number one.
So when you wake up in the morning, think to yourself, God's going to be my number one today. I'm not going to give in to peer pressure. I'm not going to give in to temptation. I'm going to follow Him.
Yeah.
So that concludes our video. We hope you liked it. And if you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up.
If you want to be notified when we upload a new video, then make sure you subscribe.
If you have any questions or comments or ideas, be sure to leave your comments in the video down below.
Yep. And be sure to check out our Instagram page and follow us so you can be even more updated, and yeah.
And we post awesome Bible verses once a week as well. So
Yep.
yeah. So keep trusting in God.
And we'll see you soon.
Bye. Today's topic is peer pressure. Temptation. They're actually really similar. Today's topic is temptation.